Hi there. Thanks for tuning into our channel. My name is Wiley Allen, and I'm the founder here of Pinnacle Supplementation. Today, I want to start a discussion on protein and amino acids because flashy protein and amino acid powder has been a staple of the supplement industry for many years now. Why? Well, the belief that many people have now is that if you want to build muscle and get jacked, then you better have tubs of protein and amino acids on deck. And although protein is without a doubt critical to building muscle, I believe the industry has fooled us into thinking that is protein's only purpose. So, what even is protein? It's an important question to understand the answer to, but first, let's realize that protein is literally found everywhere throughout your body. It's not just in your muscles, it's in your bones, your skin, your hair, literally everywhere. It makes up the enzymes found throughout your body. It makes up hemoglobin, which is responsible for carrying oxygen in your body. There's over 10,000 different proteins that make you what you are. And what actually is protein? Well, it's simply a combination of its 20 building blocks, otherwise known as amino acids. And those 20 amino acids are more specifically called proteinogenic amino acids. And that is an important distinction to make because they represent a very small fraction of all the known amino acids. There are hundreds of other amino acids out there. However, only these 20 amino acids are actually used to build proteins in the body. And this is done through a process called translation. And these 20 amino acids can be further classified as essential, non-essential, or semi-essential, or sometimes called conditionally essential. So, essential amino acids, they cannot be synthesized by your body. So it is essential that you obtain them in your diet. Whereas non-essential amino acids, your body can easily produce. So it is not essential that you consume them in your diet on a daily basis. However, there's a gray area because there are times when non-essential amino acids can become essential. So, great example here. If you become ill, there will be an increased need for certain amino acids to sustain the immune system defense mechanism. So then you'll have deficiencies in certain amino acids, and if you're not consuming them in your diet, then your immune system is going to struggle. So it's important to focus on consuming enough whole protein in your diet so that way you know that you're getting all of the amino acids that your body requires. But let's just take a glance here at the 9 essential amino acids, and here they are listed. Take a quick glance at them, and it is to your benefit to know these 9 essential amino acids because making sure that you are getting all 9 of these in your diet is critical because lacking even just one of these is going to lead to very negative effects for you. Okay, so when you get all those amino acids into a certain combination, what do? You get a protein. And here's an example of what a protein molecule can look like. Looks pretty complex, huh? And it is pretty complex. And to better paint the picture of how important protein is for everybody, here's a fun fact for you. The human body consists of around 100 trillion cells, and each cell has thousands of different proteins, okay? So I hope that really just emphasizes the fact that protein is so critical for everyone to be consuming enough of, not just people that want to be building muscle. So how much protein does one need? Well, according to the National Academy of Medicine, they recommend that all adults get an absolute minimum of 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram body weight that you are. And for you to figure that out yourself, you would first need to know how much you weigh in pounds. And then once you know that, you would take that number divided by 2.205, and then that is how much you weigh in kilograms. And then once you have that number, you can multiply that by 0.8 grams, and that is how much protein you need for your weight in kilograms. So for an example here, if you weigh 200 pounds, you would weigh approximately 90 kilograms, and you would need approximately 70 grams of protein per day. But the thing is that this RDA that has been set for adults at 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram body weight has been challenged by a lot of protein experts for many years now. And the argument is that the RDA is outdated, it's too low, and it needs to be raised. And this claim is backed by a lot of different studies. So this study, as an example here, was looking at what is the dietary protein requirement for female adults aged over 65. And it was using a newer technique called the indicator amino acid oxidation technique, which is different than what technique was used by the Institute of Medicine to determine the RDA, which was looking at nitrogen balance. So that is how they established the EAR, or estimated average requirement. Not a lot of people look at this or really talk about it. What most people care about is the RDA. So those values were established at 0.66 and again 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight. But when this new study came out using this newer technique, the results were very different, okay? So both the EAR and the RDA were much higher amounts. They were 0.96 and 1.29 grams per kilogram body weight of protein required for women of age 65 and higher. So those numbers are a whole lot higher than the 0.66 or the 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight that's currently established. So this study is saying that protein requirements need to be raised. And here's another study saying the exact same thing. Again, protein requirements for humans have been determined by using nitrogen balance, and the RDA is 0.8 grams per kilogram. Okay, but again, using the indicator amino acid oxidation technique to determine protein requirements, this time they were looking at adult men, and they determined that the protein requirements were 0.93 for the EAR and 1.2 grams per kilogram for the RDA. So that is 50% higher than the current 0.8 RDA for all adults. And that's a big deal. I mean, 50%, that's a whole lot there. Going back to our example here, for a 200-pound person, adding 50% to 70 grams would be another 35 grams, so 35 plus 70 is now 105 grams of protein is the minimum amount that a 200-pound person needs each day. That's a big difference, 105 compared to 70. And the overall point here is that almost everyone could benefit from consuming more protein than they do right now. However, some people are worried and concerned that a high protein diet could be harmful for them. But as the title shows here, a high protein diet has no harmful effects. And this study in particular was looking at a group of men consuming a very high protein diet over a whole 1 year period. And the results were that men consuming a diet of 2.51 to 3.32 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. I mean, those are very high numbers. That's up to 4 times the amount of what the RDA is at 0.8 grams per kilogram for a whole year, and there were no harmful effects on measures of blood lipids or liver or kidney function, which are the common complaints that people have when talking about high protein diets. Okay, but they didn't show any negative effects at all over a whole year period. And on top of that, to further put people at ease, the Institute of Medicine, which sets the RDA for protein and other nutrients, they also set upper limits for nutrients, and they have not set an upper limit for protein because taking very high amounts of protein is safe for people as long as you have normal functioning kidneys and your liver's functioning normally. So now that we know that most people can benefit from consuming more protein and that protein is safe, let's go back and look at some of the building blocks of protein, because protein powder is not the only thing that supplement companies like to sell. They also like to sell individual amino acids. And the most popular amino acid formula that supplement companies sell are called BCAAs, or branch chain amino acids. And ironically enough, there's an ad right there for some BCAA pills. But the three essential amino acids that make up BCAAs are isoleucine, and then leucine, and then valine. So those are the three that make BCAAs. And the reason that they are all grouped together is because they have a common similarity in their molecular structure, which differentiates them from the other 6 essential amino acids. So I want to take a look at Amazon's best sellers for BCAAs, because I want to see what people are buying and what they think is working for them. So first one on the list here, we have a BCAA powder that says it helps with muscle recovery. Well, let's see what's actually in it. And it sure enough does have all of the BCAAs. It does have leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And then it has a couple of additional amino acids. It has glutamine and citrulline in there. But what has even made BCAAs popular? I mean, there's got to be something in them that somewhat works, right? Otherwise, people would stop buying them. What is that? Well, it's the leucine amino acid that's the star of the show for the BCAAs. And this research article was looking at ways to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Again, RDA for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram, but this is not sufficient for athletes looking to maximize muscle protein synthesis. And the amount of protein that is required to maximize muscle protein synthesis is likely dependent upon its leucine content, because leucine is responsible for most of the anabolic effects of a meal, and current research suggests that 3 grams of leucine is required to maximize this response. So consuming multiple meals per day containing at least 3 grams of leucine may be beneficial in maximizing muscle protein synthesis. And it is able to do this by stimulating the mammalian target of rapamycin, or mTOR, signaling pathway, which is very well known for its stimulation of muscle protein synthesis. And again, the branch chain amino acid leucine has been proposed as the key amino acid for stimulation of muscle protein synthesis. It has been previously demonstrated that leucine accounts for the majority of the anabolic effect of a meal, and administration of amino acid mixtures, such as BCAAs, lacking leucine or with only small amounts of it, do not stimulate muscle protein synthesis in adults. So leucine is absolutely critical to maximizing muscle protein synthesis, and I know from personal experience that straight leucine powder has a very bitter taste to it. And since BCAAs are easily flavored, they taste good, and they have a high leucine content, they've become a very popular supplement. However, you have to remember that there's 20 amino acids that your body needs to build proteins. So it's nice that leucine can stimulate muscle protein synthesis on its own, but that doesn't get you very far if you don't have all of the other amino acids in your body to actually build proteins. So I don't necessarily have a problem with BCAA supplements. If you like the way they taste and you like to take them, that's no problem. And this one in particular is a good one because it has a very high leucine content. It has 3.5 grams, and you're looking for something that has at least 3 grams of leucine. So this isn't a terrible BCAA supplement. But what I do have a problem with is BCAA supplements marketing themselves as being able to build and support muscle mass. They can't do that on their own. The only way that you can actually build muscle is if you have all 20 amino acids in your body. If you were to just consume BCAA powder, you would not be able to build muscle mass off of that alone. But now supplement companies have started selling something slightly different than BCAAs. They've started selling EAAs, or essential amino acids, which is different from the BCAAs because they include all 9 essential amino acids compared to just the 3 BCAAs, which I would say is better than the BCAAs because it includes a lot more amino acids. And this product in particular is still pretty good because it has 3 grams of leucine, which is what you're looking for. But the thing is that it's still not as good as protein powder because it doesn't have all of the amino acids that your body is looking for. Even though it has all the essential ones, remember that sometimes some of the non-essential amino acids can become essential in certain circumstances. So an amino acid supplement will never be as good as protein powder because if it was, it would be called protein powder. Now that we have discussed the basics on what protein and amino acids are, I hope that you have gathered that it is not how many BCAAs you consume in a day that matters. It's how much whole protein that gives you all 20 amino acids that matters. And no, protein is not just for people that want to get jacked. Everyone needs to be aware of how much protein they're consuming and could probably benefit from consuming a little more. But what if you do want to build muscle? What kind of protein should you consume? How much? Or what about losing weight? Can protein help with that? Or is there a specific time to take protein? These are all important questions, but you're going to have to tune in next week to get the answers for them. So, thank you again for tuning in this week. I hope you learned something new. And just remember to go reach your pinnacle.